Hey, Paul, are you there? You're over at your parents' place right now, right? Could you get back over here right away?
Huh? Pardon me?
I think the baby is coming. I should head to the hospital. Could you drive me there right away?
No, can't do it.
Wait, what? Why not?
Would you just stop? I said no, for God's sakes.
Why do you just hang up? I said the baby is coming. I'm having contractions.
Stop bothering me. I'm not going to no hospital.
How could you say that, Paul? Do you realize what this means? If I don't go to the hospital right now, the baby will be in danger.
Just call a darn taxi. You can use your phone still, right?
Call a cab? Are you serious? It's your child that's about to be born. How could you even say that? Why are you being so cold? I can't do this alone. Paul, I need someone by my side.
Damn it. You don't give up, do you? I'm too busy to deal with you right now.
Don't tell me that Kathy is also having contractions. I remember her delivery date was about the same time as mine. I realize you're worried about your younger sister, but I'm in the same situation here, and you're my husband. Why do you ignore me and give priority to your younger sister? She's got her husband to look after her, doesn't she? Get your mom and dad to help out and work something out, would you? You don't all have to be over there. I mean, use common sense, Paul. This is nuts.
I said no way. Call a cab.
Paul, you stole my purse, didn't you?
Huh? What now?
I was getting ready to go to the hospital by cab and checked my bag, and my purse was nowhere to be found.
Oh, yeah. I was on my way to take Kathy to the hospital, and I realized I didn't have any money for a cab.
So you took my money? Are you serious?
Now, how the heck am I supposed to get to the hospital? Get this through your thick skull, Trish. I'm not going to the hospital for you. I made up my mind a long time ago that if Kathy's baby came the same time as yours, I would give her priority over you.
You cannot be serious.
What's wrong with giving your family members priority over a stranger? You had the gall to have your baby at the same time as her. You have no right to be griping on and on about this, so give it up.
Paul, I think I'm going into labor. The water.
Come on, Trish. Forget the cab. Just have the baby in the bathtub or something. Figure it out yourself. And Trish, don't make a mess.
Paul, Trish here. It was a boy. My neighbor, Carol, helped me out and took me to the hospital. I don't know what I would have done without her.
You have got to be kidding me. You had to impose on your neighbor?
I had no other choice. I had no money for a cab. I could hardly walk, for God's sake. Carol has kids, so she knows exactly how I felt and knew exactly what to do. Without her help, I don't know what would have happened. Once I'm back from the hospital, and if you have time, please thank her.
I can't believe you. We need to be on good terms with our neighbors. Don't go giving our neighbors a hard time, would you?
Hey, Paul, when are you coming to the hospital? I mean, you could at least pay one visit. I know you're all worried about your sister, but you're a father now. Don't you even want to see your son? As a father, that's the least you can do.
Sorry, but I just can't do that right now. Kathy wants me by her side. I just can't leave her. After giving birth, she's really drained of strength, not to mention her emotional state. No, I'm going to stick by her side until it gets better.
By the way, where the hell is Kathy's husband? Shouldn't he be there?
Pardon me?
I know she's there at your parents' place, but she lives just down the street. Shouldn't her husband be there by now? Shouldn't he be the one by her side?
Oh, yeah. Didn't I tell you? Guess not. She got divorced about a month ago.
Wait, what? She got divorced?
It seems that jerk was impotent, which meant that the kid wasn't his.
Am I hearing you right? That's crazy.
Well, it is what it is. So letting her have a kid all alone with nobody to rely on, it just seemed cruel, you know? As her big brother, I made up my mind to comfort her any way I could.
Hold on a second. I heard that Kathy was in the VIP room at this very hospital. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. Don't go complaining that you had to stay in one of those rooms with several other patients. I'm not in the mood to hear that.
Relative to what you were saying, I sort of think that Kathy's husband would be demanding compensation for, it seems obvious. She's not exactly well off with that hanging over her head. How could she afford to stay in a VIP room?
Yeah, well, I paid for all that.
You cannot be serious, Paul. We can't afford to pay the hospital fee for 2 women. Are you nuts?
So you saying I should just dump on Kathy, huh? My little sister?
No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that I wish you would have talked to me before making such a decision. Just think of our financial situation. There's no way we could afford to put her up in a VIP room.
Quit yapping on about what's already been done. What's the use? If you keep this crap up, Trish, I may even think about divorcing. You don't want that, do you?
Pardon me?
You're the one that's gonna pay the price if that happens. You have no parents or siblings to fall back on.
That's a low blow, Paul. Even for you.
Anyway, why'd you even have to get pregnant? Just my little sister was plenty. We don't need any more kids in this world. This whole mess is all your fault. Why'd you have to go and get pregnant?
What you just said, I hope you don't regret it.
All the wife has to do is obey her husband. Can you at least do that? Kathy just woke up. Let's cut this short, shall we? See ya.
Hey Trish, how are you? Congratulations. Thanks for giving us a grandson.
Dad, wow, it's been so long. How have you been? Yeah, not bad.
Sorry to contact you out of the blue like this. I got your line ID from your friend Carol, your neighbor. Nice girl, by the way.
Yeah, she's great. She told me all about it. She's the one that got in contact with you, right?
Yes, that's right. It was by pure chance that I was told about your situation.
Chance?
You talked to Carol about me before, right?
Come to think of it, I did mention you when we were talking about family. With the baby coming and all.
Well, she remembered my name and it apparently rang a bell, so she checked me out. And it turned out that I was the president of the company she was working for. She couldn't believe it at first, but she verified the family ties and got in contact with me through the company intranet system.
Whoa, wait, back up. You're the president of a company now?
Yes, but it's only happened about 2 weeks ago. I'm really sorry I didn't contact you for so long. As you know, Mom and I divorced some time back. Fortunately, it was amicable. The main reason we got supported was basically because we were both workaholics, lol. After the divorce, I went overseas on business for almost 3 months, and we sort of lost touch. I didn't know she passed away until Carol told me about it. I felt terrible.
I see. I had no idea.
I really wish I was here. Maybe I should have stayed married to her, just separated.
You don't have to feel guilt over that. Mom knew how busy you were, and how much your work meant to you. Knowing Mom, that's probably why she didn't contact you. She's always sent me financial support through the years and insisted that I give you enough breathing space, so you can work to your heart's desire.
That's heartening to hear. Thanks for that, Trish. By the way, your husband, Paul, was it?
Huh? Yeah, that's right.
What do you plan on doing going forward?
Do? What do you mean?
I heard the whole situation from Carol, so you don't need to hold anything back. Tell me how you honestly feel.
Right. I suppose I'm leaning toward divorce. He gives his younger sister priority over me and the verbal abuse that I get. To be honest, I worry about our future together. Fortunately, I plan to return to work once I'm back on my feet. My company is pretty understanding when it comes to maternity leave. When I think about that, divorce seems the better option.
Okay, I understand. Then why don't we do this? Give me a bit of time to verify a few things.
Verify a few things. Like what?
When do you get released from the hospital?
Well, if all goes well, I should be out of here by next Wednesday.
Alright then. I'll contact you by then and we can work things out. Be patient, okay?
Not sure what you're up to, Dad, but yeah, okay.
Hey, Trish, are you there? Is that true about your dad? Is this some kind of joke? You never told me he was the president of that major corporation. Why didn't you mention this before we got married? How could you leave out such an important piece of information? Are you totally daft, Trish?
He contacted me just last week. It was the first time I heard he was the president of that company. I had no idea. He was working overseas for the past 3 months and just returned last week and was promoted to president on his return.
If your father is the president of that major corporation, well, that means you're the daughter of a big shot. You're like a VIP or whatever.
Yeah, well, this only happened 2 weeks ago, so I was never a VIP or socialite or whatever.
But you are the daughter of a company president. That's a fact. What the hell is going on here? If I had known this earlier, I would have... This is not happening.
Hey, Paul, are you upset about something? You're acting real weird.
Yeah, I'm upset. How can I not be? Your father is a big investor in our company, and I mean one of the biggest.
Really, I didn't have a clue.
And his company is one of our top clients. One move, and he has the power to even bankrupt us.
Seriously, this is the first I'm hearing about this. You never mentioned your work stuff to me, so how would I know, right?
Apparently, your father contacted the president of my firm and wanted him to check out his employees. He eventually heard there was some sort of shenanigans going on. They found out that me and Kathy's work performance was, like, not up to par.
I'm just assuming here, but I bet you guys were forcing others to do your job and taking time off when you weren't permitted to.
Huh? Hold it a sec. Why do you know that?
Again, I'm just assuming, but considering your attitude toward everything, and this goes for your sister too, it just seemed like the logical thing you guys would do.
You sound like you're enjoying this. Like it's just some casual conversation or something. You realize that both Kathy and I have been transferred? And get this, we're not being transferred to the same location either.
Roger that. Don't go screwing up this time, Paul.
Roger, what? The hell do you think you are anyways? It was all your fault that we ended up in this predicament. What are you going to do about it? I went to your father's office and had a meeting with him. I got down on my hands and knees begging him to reconsider, but your father just ignored me. This whole thing wouldn't have happened if you had just told me about your father and not kept it a secret. How could you be so devious? If you had only warned us, we'd have been able to be more careful at work.
Like I said, I haven't seen my dad in a while, and I only learned of this like 2 weeks ago. How am I supposed to tell you when I didn't even know? And for your information, I had no connection to your job. You never told me anything about where you and Kathy worked or what you did. Yeah, so maybe it was my father who checked up on your work performance. But it was you guys who abused your position. To me, it looks like you guys are the only ones that are ultimately responsible. Don't blame all this on me. And another thing, I plan to divorce you once and for all.
What? Wait, divorce?
My father introduced me to a lawyer, so he'll probably be paying you a visit sometime soon. So I would appreciate it if you would sign it.
Trish, come on. You don't want to do this.
In addition, I plan to demand compensation for emotional distress that you caused all these years, especially when our baby was born. Any court will rule in my favor. Oh, and I will be demanding the proper child support for our son. We mustn't forget that.
No, you can't do this. I have a lot on my plate now. I have to pay for Kathy's stuff, and getting pushed out and transferred to some branch office somewhere means a reduction in pay. Taking money from me now? Your timing is impeccable, Trish.
Take money, huh? Isn't that what you did to me when I went into labor? You stole my purse. Didn't you take money from me then? You left me there to suffer in pain because I had no money for a cab. If Carol hadn't been there to help, I could have died.
I need the money to take Kathy to the hospital. What can I say?
That's your problem, Paul. That behavior, that thought process, whatever you want to call it, that's what's screwed about you.
But the fact remains that I don't have any money.
Looks like this is going to go on into an endless loop, so let's cut it short.
But...
Oh yeah, one more thing. You and Kathy probably didn't realize this, but your mom and dad are both on my side with this.
Pardon me?
When Kathy went into labor, your folks went straight to the hospital with her, as any parent would. They only found out that I was all alone at the hospital was when they got home that night. They were furious for the way you acted towards your wife. They apologized profusely. Your mom was on the verge of tears. I ended up comforting her. They were overjoyed that I had reunited with my father and agreed to the divorce without complaint.
Are you really serious?
From now on, I want you to go through my lawyer. Anything you need, just contact them. Please don't contact me directly anymore. You got that, Paul?
Trish, you can't do this.
Goodbye. My son and I moved into my father's spacious condo downtown. On the day I was to be released from the hospital, my in-laws helped me escape without Paul or Kathy getting wind of it. They also helped in convincing Paul into agreeing to a one-time payment for damages and for child support. In return, I promised them that I would allow them to visit their grandson on occasion. I made sure I no longer had any contact with either Paul or his sister Kathy. I later heard that Kathy resigned from the company due to where she was being transferred to, and that she wanted to be with her brother. She blamed Paul for their downfall and insisted that her big brother take care of her as she stayed home with her child. That brother and sister relationship is a bit too bizarre for me. I heard the three of them went living at Paul's apartment somewhere up north. Most of the neighbors think that they are a family. I find it hard to believe that they even have any friends.
Dakota, hello! Has it been 3 years already? Wow, time really does fly when you're having a good time. You went and blocked me after the last time we chatted, so I went and got myself a brand new phone number to text you with. What? Gracie? Huh? Why are you reacting to me texting you after such a long time like that? You think you, of all people, have the right to be asking me what my reaction was just then, after everything you did? What are you talking about? I'm talking about how you stole my husband from me and made us get a divorce. Oh, that did happen, didn't it? At the time, you were married to Jeff, right? Well, after I went and stole him from you, things became a little bit distant between him and I, so I threw him aside. So we no longer need to talk about that. From now on, I'd like to start my new relationship with a new man. And you need to do the same thing for yourself here soon, Dakota, right? Honestly, I don't really care what happened between you and Jeff anymore. And right now, the fact that you are texting me again after that event is frickin' vexing. What? Don't you start calling me annoying. Then don't even text me again, please. Goodbye. Wait! I have to tell you about who I'm going out with right now, and that's why I started to text you again. What do you think you're doing, leaving me before I even tell you what I have to say? I don't give a crap about whoever you're with now. Well, what if I told you I'm going out with your current husband now? What was that? My current husband, you say? Look at that, now you seem to care. I knew you'd never be able to ignore me after saying that. No. Actually, after saying that, you've only gone and started to annoy me some more. Actually, it's been about 6 months now since I went and stole him from you. Your current husband is way more exciting than your first. He is far superior to that Jeff guy, and the way he acts around me is so gentlemanlike. We're just meant for one another. What? I'm single right now, though. Huh? Like I said, I'm single. No boyfriend, no fiancé, no husband. I'm not even having any fun with men right now. Ever since the divorce with Jeff happened, I haven't dated any men at all. There hasn't been anyone I've come to like that way. For the past 3 years, I've been completely free and have my own will again. Yet now you're back talking about how you're with my husband? Who are you even talking about right now? Oh, I see. I get it now. This is all too heartbreaking for you, isn't it? Just because you're feeling your gut tighten up with anxiety, it doesn't mean you can start to lie to me. Right now, I'm in a hotel with your husband, and we are getting it on. I know for a fact that you're lying, and it was all too easy for me to guess that. Hey, Gracie, I'm not joking around. I've seriously not gotten remarried since then. Then tell me, who is this man that I've been having so much fun with and letting do me raw all the time when we come out on these little nightly vacancies? You haven't given me a name or sent me a picture of him, so I have no clue who he is. Oh my god. So this is really devastating for you then, isn't it? And could it also be that since this is your second time losing a husband to me, your brain has become completely fried from the shock? Well, you need to get your memory back somehow, alright? Because it's no fun watching you just sit there saying you have no memory of who your husband is. The whole point of me stealing him from you is to watch you get all upset with me again and talk about wanting to off yourself and such. I think you are mentally screwed, Gracie. But it's just so much fun for me. Especially when watching an old friend like you have a mental breakdown. I'm sure you were aware back in high school and college how I'd go and steal the men you loved, right? Seriously, the fact that you are so mentally screwed is making me want to call the police. I might honestly do that. This whole thing about you saying that man is my husband and all now, and talking about how you're now having sex with him all the time, I think you need some real dang help. Huh? So you're still going to lie to me? I'm just telling you the truth, Gracie. I think you need to find out again who that man you're with is and whose husband he is, because I know 100% that he's not mine. He most likely has nothing to do with me in the first place. I told you already, he is your husband. That's what he keeps telling me. There's no way that I'm making a mistake here. Well, I have no idea who he could be then. And from what I can tell, this conversation is meaningless because you keep forcing it to go on a loop. Bye. Huh? What the heck? I'm going to bust that lying thick skull of yours right open. I'll show you.
Dakota, this is Jeff. Long time no see. I'm only texting you because I have something I'd like to ask. Is that alright?
What? The only reason I haven't already blocked you yet is because you're still working on paying off the settlement I'd asked for 3 years ago. You understand that very clearly, right?
I know. Look, I totally agree that I'm not in the position to be texting you like this. But for my own sake, I have something I wanted to check with you about.
Well then, make it fast.
Thank you. Did you get remarried? No, I totally understand that you don't want someone like me asking you a personal question like that, but this is about Gracie.
Gracie?
Well, I'm not sure why she was doing this in the first place, and if she meant it as a form of messing around with me, but yesterday she had messaged me. She was going on about how she had stolen her husband from you again, and this new man is far better than me. Well, I kind of understood what was wrong with that woman back when she ran away from me, and well, since then I haven't really had any desire to want to talk with her again.
So Gracie is still going on about how she's stolen my supposed husband?
What?
About 3 months ago or so, she was telling me the exact same thing about how she had stolen my husband. None of it made any sense at all to me, so I just stopped texting her and left it. Were you able to hear from her at all who the man is that she's with and calling my husband?
Yeah. He was working at the same company as me before, and his name is Titus. Though he was never that great of a worker in the company, so I don't ever remember much about him besides his face.
I see. I have no memory of a Titus.
Oh, so this means you haven't gotten remarried yet?
That's right. There is no husband.
And how about thoughts about you and I getting back together?
Shut the hell up, Jeff.
What I thought. Sorry for asking. I won't say anything else.
However, thank you for letting me know about this. I happen to have a friend still working at the company you were at before, so when I have some time, I'll ask them to look into this Titus guy for me.
Well, if there's anything you need help with, let me know. Of course, after what happened 3 years ago, I'm sure you don't want me around.
That's right. But if you hear anything from Gracie, let me know about it.
Sounds good.
Dakota, I've really gone and done it this time. And this time, you can no longer even try getting away with lying about not having a husband right now. That's because your husband got me pregnant. Well, actually, I already knew I was pregnant a little while back. It's been around 6 months now since I first found out, but I wanted to wait until my belly started to get a bit bigger before telling you. At this point, I have no choice but to have the baby for him, and that will force you to have to divorce him, right? Oh my god, life is always filled with the unexpected. At first, I was just planning on taking your husband from you for however long things could last before I got bored, and then toss him aside as well. But this guy is the most amazing man I have ever been with. He has the best features, and his face is perfect for me. And above all that, me getting married to the man I stole from you would be a good send-off before your trip into a deep depression, right? When he told me that he wanted to marry me so much that he'd make me pregnant with his kid, I was over the moon with joy. From that moment on, he and I have felt even more close to one another. And after a few weeks at a hotel nearby, I became pregnant. Hey, how about you respond to me now? I get that this is all terribly heartbreaking for you, but there's no point in you lying to me anymore about being single. All right? Hurry up and get that divorce for me now. Hey, Dakota, I've seen that you read my text from yesterday. But the fact that you still haven't replied to me tells me there is something wrong with your head. I'm about to have a baby here soon, and you are holding up the process for my man and I. You have to divorce him now. Hi, Gracie. What perfect timing. I was just thinking about getting back to you. Well, so you're finally going to agree to divorce your husband for me? No, because like I've said plenty of times now, I'm single. Huh? You are still trying to fight me on this? Just stop talking for a second, all right? I have something I need to check with you about now, Gracie, and it is very, very important. What? Gracie, have you ever been stalked by someone before? What? Stalked by someone? I'm talking about the time between you leaving Jeff and now. Yes. There have been a few times now, actually. But after I went and gave him a little action, he left me alone for good. What? You and that stalker? I've done things like that before in the past to get men to leave me alone, so I did the same thing with him, and after he was happy, he left me alone. That's right. This last time, he was a total turnoff. His looks were awful, and that face was like that of an alien. Yet he still thought he could get with me. Well, I knew that as long as I pleased him that one time, he'd leave me alone forever. So I slept with him for 2 hours that day. But I do have to say, that did leave me with a little bit of trauma. I told myself that once I had finished up with that stalker, I would never ever do anything with an ugly man again. Did you get the name of that stalker or any other identification? We were only together one time, so I had no reason to ask for his name. Then, what would happen if that man you called ugly back then went and got plastic surgery and then showed back up in your face again? What? Plastic surgery? And what if he told you he wanted to have a serious relationship now? Wanted to marry you and everything? What? I would never bother with him. Naturally, he's ugly, so no matter what he does to change his appearance, I would never want to have a relationship. By the way, why are we talking about this right now? I see. So you still don't get it then, do you? That's why I'm wondering what's going on here. That whole story with that stalker is over now, and I fixed the problem I had. No, you didn't. You might think you fixed that problem. But while you've been completely oblivious to it, that man has been moving along with a very dark plan that he made up. What are you talking about? What dark plan? That stalker of yours that I just mentioned, the one that got plastic surgery and everything? Well, he got you to think that he was married to me, and his name is Titus. Huh? You know how Jeff and Titus used to work together back at Jeff's old company? Well, I happen to have a friend still working at that company, and so they went and talked with Titus about a few things while out drinking. The reason he first started to stalk you was because back in the day you were waiting for Jeff outside the office and Titus saw you and immediately fell in love. What? After that, he learned about how you and Jeff broke up, and that's what turned him into your stalker. And after some time, you went and had that 2-hour pleasure time with him, and that only strengthened his desire for you further. So in order to become the man you dreamed of having, he went online and started searching for all the men you follow on social media, as well as learned about how you had always been stealing my significant others away from me. He changed his face to match the faces of those men you liked so much, and changed his backstory to sound like he had become my next husband. This then led to you falling for him immediately, and he then was able to get you pregnant with his kid. And now, here we are. What? What if I told you that everything you've been a part of with that man has all been part of your stalker's plan? What? In order to go through all that plastic surgery, Titus used up all of his savings. And then in order to take you out to those hotels all the time, he started to borrow money. So he's in debt? And don't forget that he went and changed his whole appearance for you, so everyone at the office talks about what happened to him all the time. He went and got rid of his former self, all in order to force his way into your life. You should be more accepting of his strong desire to be with you over any other woman on this planet. No! How could I ever marry an ugly man like that? How could I ever be able to give birth to that ugly man's child? No! This is what you wanted. I didn't know all of that happened, though. Help me, Dakota. Why should I? Because he's your husband! That's right. He is my husband, isn't he? Just like how the sun is the color pink. And how rocks are mammals. Let me come hide at your place. I'm coming to your house right now. If you're talking about my parents' house, that place is no longer standing. It was demolished years ago, and there's a new house there. Huh? It's not there anymore? My older brother and his wife took that land and built their new house on it, so I moved out of town and am living somewhere completely different. So don't even bother with me, Gracie. What? And if you'd like to know, your parents' house is also gone now. Huh? Because of what you did 3 years ago, your parents both disowned you, right? They couldn't risk you trying to come back to them after that, and so they both decided to sell their house and move away from here for good. I'm not sure where they moved to, though. I'm sure you could go out and try looking for them, but that would be a hard thing to do when you're going to have a baby soon and a husband. No way! Then, what am I supposed to do? There's only one thing left you can do. What is that? Marry Titus and become his childbearing wife, right? What? Your last name would be Dingerfell, right? Gracie Dingerfell. That sounds pretty great to me. No! Help me, Dakota! There's nothing I can do for you. Nothing I'd want to do for you, to be honest. No! Goodbye forever, Gracie. I know that I told her I couldn't do anything for her, but I had actually gotten Gracie's mother's phone number a while back. And she had just texted me asking how Gracie was doing since we started talking again, and I told her daughter was just fine. In the end, Gracie got married to Titus, although they didn't have a wedding for their marriage or anything like that, because Titus didn't have any money left and Gracie was going into labor. And so right after their visit to the courthouse to get married, she gave birth to their baby. Gracie was not a fan of her baby because the moment it came out of her, she could see that it resembled the natural version of Titus, which she called ugly. But there was nothing she could do about her baby at that point, so she just began bawling her eyes out over her new life, which had just begun. And because Gracie no longer had a single person to rely on for help, she was forced to work with Titus's family, who were all monsters of their own. Apparently his mother was also looking forward to having a daughter-in-law, all with the hopes of making them her slave. And so, after having her baby, Gracie was subjected to a lot of terrible moments with her mother-in-law, which started with her having to move in with Titus's parents because, once again, they didn't have any money to go anywhere otherwise. Titus's mother also blamed Gracie for him getting into debt and forced her to start working in order to pay his debt off for him. And not too long after all that started, Titus's mother told them she didn't want a grandchild anymore, and so she had Gracie's parents come and take that baby away. And, well, Titus was totally okay with her decision to do that with his baby, and even told Gracie that it was the right decision, because he couldn't handle all the baby's crying. By this point, though, Gracie was already pretty much dead inside, so losing her own baby to her parents, who both cut ties to her, didn't even faze her. Well, that's at least what everyone thinks when looking into her now soulless eyes. Anyway, that baby hasn't done anything wrong to deserve to grow up in a terrible household such as that, so I'm completely fine with the outcome there. And that means I can finally relax and forget about Gracie for good.